Okay, we're back for another week. How are we, guys? I hope we're all doing well. It's been a little bit more than a week for me, actually, since I've done anything on this. So I'm just familiarizing myself again. Ooh, down the stairs. Now, the first thing that we need to do today is sort out this camera. This camera isn't the easiest to even play the game with. And all of the levels... Oh, I fell right at the end. Oh, I almost want to restart the entire video now. The camera sucks, so that's the first thing that we need to do. Let's sort this camera out. Now, the whole idea of this series is to keep things as simple as possible. So we just need basically a camera that's going to follow our ball about, and I think Cinemachine is going to do everything that we need for it. This was originally, I think, an asset that someone had made, or some people had made for Unity, but it ended up being so good that Unity actually just put it in their own registry. Everybody seems to use it. I've seen a lot of people use it online and on YouTube videos. I've dabbled in it myself. I think one of my Purple Helmet projects used Cinemachine, but I don't really know too much about it, so I need to go and do a little bit of researching and see what we can come up with. I don't know what's going on. This is not right. This is worse. Oh, nope. Still not what I need. Aha, this is a bit closer. Ooh, big advancement. I'm using my Xbox controller, and as you can see, the camera is following nicely. I like this. It definitely feels a lot more usable, a lot more playable. I can get close to the edge now and not sort of worry too much. Look at this, hey? Pretty precise movements. We can't rotate the camera though. I can't use my my other analog stick, for example, to swish the camera around and see behind us. I don't know if we need to or not. I'm gonna try and get this working with the generation. Currently, the camera doesn't work yet with the generated levels, which is why we're in the green zone again. But let me get it working. Try and get it working with the generation stuff, and we'll see if we want to be able to rotate the camera. I don't know if I want to add more complexity than is really required. Whee! We've got it now. Look, up and down and through, and I'll never fall off a single level ever again. I have the controls down perfectly. However, although this camera does seem to be functioning absolutely exactly as intended, there is one problem that I've already already experienced, and that's if we're traveling towards us. Now, if we find the jump, is this the jump? No, that's just a staircase. Is this one the jump? Because we don't. Now I fell off. I said I was never going to fall off again. I fell off. We need to find the jump. There's the jump. So playing the jump away from us is absolutely fine. We can just sort of go forward and we go over the jump and it's good. However, what if the chest was what would you call it, like behind us, behind the camera, and we have to sort of go towards the camera? That's a little bit trickier. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't, even if I go up to the end of this ramp, I can't actually see where I'm gonna land. I know if I give a bit of a run up, I should make it anyway. Like that. It's a little bit tricky to come towards us, so having a rotatable camera that we can move with the other analog stick or with the mouse or something would be very handy. You know, I can then look to my right instead of just going to my right. But this is going to affect a lot of stuff because at the moment, the movement of the ball, the script that controls the movement, it just says basically forwards, backwards, and then left and right. It doesn't take into consideration what way the camera is facing. So to show that a little bit easier, if we give this offset, and I put this offset up a little bit, we put it to like 4. Now when I hit play, you'll see that the camera is not facing like straight anymore. We're basically like at almost a 45-degree angle. And if I get my controller and I push up on the analog stick, it doesn't go quite the direction you expected it to. I would expect when I'm controlling a ball like this, and if I pushed up, it would go towards the corner, which would be that way, which to me is hard to do because I've got to sort of go up and to the left a little bit on the analog stick. Basically, the movement isn't changing depending on where the camera is facing. So if I want to have a rotatable camera, we're going to have a look at the marble controller, and we're gonna basically have to twiddle this direction around a bit and add in a bit of an angle somewhere. Okay, I can rotate with my analog stick left and right. I can zoom in and out. The values need to be adjusted, but we can zoom in and out with the analog stick, and we can rotate left and right. I can also do it with my mouse. You see my little mouse cursor here, left and right, and we can zoom out and we can zoom in. Perfect. Controller works, mouse works. The movement doesn't though. However, if I face the camera this way, it's great. We can go forward and we can go backwards. We can go left and we can go right. But if I rotate the camera this way, forward is still that way. So that's my next thing. I now need to fix the ball. But we've got the camera. The camera works good. The camera works good. A little bit of adjustment with some values, but yeah, let's get this movement sorted now. This might be a 2 hours later thing. No, I thought I'd solved it. I thought, look at this. I can go forward on the analog stick, and it goes forward. I can go forward on the. Look at this. I can control. I can move about. This is great. It feels more like a game camera. No, something's not right. I noticed something wasn't right when I tried to make a jump, and I'm now slower, and I can't make the jumps anymore. That was actually the closest I've got. So I thought, what's going on? And then I tried to go backwards, and this happens. We are floating. Yeah. So we're not there yet, but it's a lot closer. See, we can roll backwards like this. It's to do with the angle of my camera. I haven't got something quite right. Like I can move about here and it's fine. But if I go up in the air and then pull back on the analog stick towards me, the marble gets pulled towards the camera. So not quite what we wanted, but we're getting closer. Each step is a step closer. Okay, rotated that way, forwards and backwards, and rotated this way and forwards and a backward. I think we've got it. By Jove, I think my Googling has done what I needed it to do. We can rotate the camera left and right. We can zoom in and we can zoom out, and I think I'm happy with these values. I don't want to get any close to the ball. What value are we going to have at getting the camera any closer to the ball than this? We can if we want to, but I can't see the point at the moment. And the same as zooming out, I don't want to be any further out than this. If we go any further out, the ball becomes difficult to control, and it gives away too much of the level, too much of the map, I think, of the dungeon. If we go up here, we can see quite a lot of it, I suppose, already. But the rooms will get more complex, I suppose. The rooms will get more complex. I'm very happy with this. This is exactly what I would want. Make the jump. Over we go. Look at. I'm never going to fail ever again. I don't think. What way do I got to go? That way. I don't think I'll ever fail a level again. My ingenious, my incredible skills of Unity scripting has allowed this camera to be so good that the game is near on impossible to lose now. Oh, can I make that? Do you reckon I could do like a bouncy, jumpy, jiggy? No, I can't. Okay, maybe the camera's not good enough. Maybe the camera's not so good that I can't fail. But it's certainly a lot easier not to fail. Now look at that. It was a straight run all the way down over the bridge. Cool. Okay, so what's the next thing then on the list? The camera was just the first thing that I wanted to do today. There's some other things that I want to do. The second thing is a little bit of post-processing. Now, at the moment, I'm just using like the standard pipeline for rendering. I think we can do an upgrade. It's very early on in the project, but I think if we upgrade to use the universal render pipeline, it's going to make things a lot easier in the future, depending on where we take this game, and it should be a lot easier to change and modify the look of the game. So let's get that going. I think that's going to be in here, isn't it, somewhere? The pipeline universal. I think if I can spell universal, I'm sure universal RP. Perfect. So if we install that, this isn't going to be no tutorial or anything on how to upgrade to URP. I've done it a couple of times before in some projects, and I think I can do it. I'll just let this install and stuff, and I'll be back. Okay, imported. Looks all good. Now, I think it's been a while since I've done this kind of stuff. Has anything been, like, bust already? problem. Oh, no, yeah, by the looks. Okay, let's create a new folder in here. We shall create a folder, and we shall call it renderer. And we shall go into here, and we shall create a new, where is it? Rendering. I want something like rendering or something. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't need to know what any of that is. I think it's gonna... Rendering. There it is. Look. Universal render pipeline. That's what we want. And I want a pipeline asset. And I'm going to call it URP renderer. Okay. That should be like the first step. And then we go to that and we drag in one of these. Which one? Either the renderer or the renderer. Let's try the renderer. Does the renderer work? The renderer doesn't work. So the renderer does work, but it makes everything pink. That's fine. I don't need to worry about that yet. And then we go to quality. And do I need the renderer or do I need the renderer? The renderer works. But again, the renderer doesn't work. So I just need the renderer by the sounds of it. What's the difference with that? I see. I got you. Okay, so that's just like a nothing. And then that's just like a detail. Okay. Makes 100% sense to me. That's all fine. And then to fix this pink, because I think if we go on to scenes and we go back on the generation, it's all black there because there ain't anything. If we press play, the game should work, but it's all pink. And that's because the materials are still being rendered using the standard render pipeline. We need to upgrade the materials. And I think, isn't it somewhere up here, render pipeline... upgrade project materials to universal RP materials. I think that's all we need. Make sure you've made a backup before proceeding. Sure, yeah, we've made a backup. Oh, was that it? Was that really as quick as that? Are you joking me? If we hit play, is it just going to work? I expected more than that. I expected error. Ooh. Whoa! Okay, so there's... Whoa! Something's a little bit closer. Whoa. What if we move? Oh, I don't know if I want to move. You know, we should just leave this. This should just be the game. This should just be how the game is played. No. Okay. That's going to be something to do with my terrible black box. Is what I'm going to guess here. I don't think that this shader of this material does not support skybox rendering. So I need to do something with that. What would I need to do? Universal render pipeline lit. I don't think I need it lit, do I? I wonder. Universal render. Oops. Universal render pipeline lit. I don't need it lit. Could I just do unlit? Like, sometimes simple solutions are the best solutions. It is. Ain't nothing ever simple, is it? Clear this error. We don't need errors in here. I've done post-processing before, and I've done it on the standard pipeline, and I've done it on the universal pipeline. However, I haven't done it on URP and using Cinemachine, and I ran into some problems. I don't know if you guys have run into the same ones, but I shall solve it for you. I couldn't get, like normally I would go like empty, I would say post-processing like this. I would reset that. I would add a volume because we're using the URP one. If we're using the standard one, I don't think I've got it even. No, it's not even installed, but there'd be like a different one. This is for the URP, and then you'd hit like a new profile. And I thought, I know exactly what I'm doing. Look at this, perfect. And then I can add a vignette, for example, because it'll be able to show up if we make this bigger. And as you can see, on the scene view, this is working. It's adding in the eye. It's like when you fall asleep, isn't it? But it doesn't work on the game view. And if we hit play, this the vignette isn't working. So, and I thought, oh my god, what have I done? I've done something wrong. Well, it turns out we don't need that because Cinemachine has its own one built in. But you've got to go onto your main camera, and then we've got post-processing here. Look, see? If we click that, and then we go on to our virtual camera, we can then add an extension, apparently. Now, post-processing is for the standard one, but we want volume settings because we're using URP. And then... I got one here. Will that work? It's right there. And it's worked on our scene view. As you can see, we now have the black thing covering our view on both. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm actually going to keep that on a little bit. I like a little bit of a vignette, but I don't like to be like this. But I do like just the corners of the screen, maybe, to be a little bit dark, you know, a little bit of a fade in. I think that will work pretty cool. Now, there's a load of other settings that we can do. I don't need to get into a lot of them at the moment, like bloom, for example, because we don't have any lights going on in our levels. We have no lights or really any reflections or anything. So, like, if I increase this, you can see we are changing stuff. We are making things look prettier and unprettier. 0 and 1. I'll put it on 1 just so there's an effect on there. We can modify and tune these whenever we want, all the way through. And there's a lot that we can do. I don't want any, definitely no, what was it? Motion blur. I don't want motion blur in this game. We can color adjustment, color curves. See, the adjustments might be worth a little bit of a look. We can increase the exposure. And undo. We can change the contrast. Now, I like my games to be colourful. You might have noticed from the other videos that I've done recently of failed projects that I like. Ooh, how pretty is that? I like my colours to pop. So I always like to add like a little bit of saturation on there and a little bit of contrast. I tell you what, let's get ourselves back into the generation. We can do the same thing over here. We can add the post-processing on there. And then we can go down here. We can add that back in with the volume settings. We can add the post-processing volume that we've done, but obviously there's nothing to see. If we play the game, and man, can I get rid of this, like, the boxes around me? Game window guides. That's the one. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Let me on the fly. So the bloom is there. The color adjustment. So we can pop the see how that makes everything like, oh, I like that. Maybe like a 50, maybe like a 20. I like how that made some stuff pop. Yes. Any saturation? No, maybe a little touch. Does this save, or will I have to like redo it again? It was on 20. Okay, it did save. Perfecto. We can play around with this as much as we like then. I like the little darkness. You see a little bit of darkness on the corners of the screen. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe something like a bit more like that. Yeah, I like that in the corners. Okay. What other effects have we got? Film grain? I don't think I want a film grain on it, but we'll take a look at it. Let's just max it out. Well, maybe my screen's too small or the effect isn't all that good, but I can't really see a difference between those ones. Let's remove it, get it gone, remove, and you know, I think whoa, I don't think I want that. That looks super weird. Let's play the game with it though. It's like ooh. Oh, it's like a dream level. Ooh, I fell. Okay, no, I don't want that. Give it to that. Oh yeah, we played the game like this. I pressed stop. This is exactly how the game was designed. That's like them cameras that people have, like, and it make the world look small behind them on the music videos. Ooh, how weird. Ooh, you can make like a totally different game using the same game and just changing the effects. We can make a totally different game with this. Whoop, sweep, sweep. Whoa, don't fall off. I fell off. That doesn't matter. What does this scale do? Down, scale. Nothing. It's sort of. Ooh, whoops. Oh, look at that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm playing silly buggers and just playing with the stuff. I don't need to do that. We've got post-processing again. Basically, we can now, when we add more stuff and we add lights, we can now tune this up and make the game look really cool all the way through. I'm very happy. Upgrading to URP hasn't just allowed us to do this fancy post-processing stuff, it is going to allow us to tune our performance as we go further into the game. For example, here we've got the main light in the room, our directional light, that, if you remember, we have pointing downwards, does cast shadows, but any other lights that we've got in the room currently, which are none of, won't cause any shadows. And shadows cause a lot of performance stuff, so that's something we'll have to think about later on. We can change the distance of where the shadows appear and not appear. Again, none of this stuff I don't think yet we need to really worry too much about, even on the original quality settings. I don't think we need to drop down any of our resolutions or anything. It's all running fine. We're running at, like, I don't know what frames now while recording. Remember, this is while recording. Hello blue stuff, there we go. Yeah, we're still like 300, 350 frames a second. I ain't got nothing to worry about anywhere near yet. And there's a lot that we can do to make things run a lot better, but no need to so far, so no point doing it. However, and unfortunately, I am out of time for this devlog. I have been playing this game for like 15-20 minutes now. And I am so stoked and pleased on how this camera has turned out. It performs exactly how you'd think and want the camera to perform in the game like this. To me, the sensitivity, the speed, everything just feels right when I'm playing it. I'm never fighting it, or it's, you know, it's never in the way. It just works exactly how I would want it to work. Getting the post-processing out of the way this devlog as well was super useful, although it doesn't... There's a little visual change, I suppose. You know, we played with the contrast. I think it looks better. It doesn't make that much of a difference at the moment. It will in the future once we start adding more stuff and lights and the game gets more interesting. It'll be easier to adjust things now as well with the post-processing already in place. Just a lot of back-end stuff today, it seems. A lot of behind-the-scenesy kind of deal. And I think the plans for the next devlog is still completing the core game loop, still heading towards that goal. I don't want to add any more features to the game yet, such as other rooms and puzzles and prettiness now. We need to get that core game loop completed, and part of that was tracking and saving how many dungeons we clear without dying. So we should be working on some UI stuff and some saving and loading, I think, so we can get that out of the way. Once we get that core game loop completed, remember, when we can save the games and we can load and we can generate levels, then we can start expanding it and making fun puzzles and tricky things and really experimenting more with the game. If you enjoyed it, then hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. You guys know I do. If you haven't already, then feel free to subscribe. Let me know of any suggestions and comments and stuff in the comment section below. I love reading them and replying to them and interacting with you guys. You guys always come up with some interesting ideas and suggestions, and I can never get enough of them. To see you in the next devlog. Bye!